expressing disbelief. Witnessing the unfolding events, Halen becomes upset and starts to cry. The next morning, we observe Butler, visibly shocked, addressing Halen with a request for her to repeat what she just said. Halen, in a saddened state, bows and expresses gratitude to Butler for everything, declaring her intention to leave. Butler, taken aback, responds with a surprised, "What?" Meanwhile, Vincent, in a fit of anger, is working in his office. Observing the condition of the other guards, Fader contemplates, fearing the potential consequences of Vincent's actions. Fader then addresses Vincent, coldly receiving a dismissive response. Frustrated, Fader shouts at Vincent, expressing concern about the deteriorating health of Ivan, Clinton, and Arkin. He highlights the toll Vincent's relentless work has taken on the guards, citing examples like Hamilton's nosebleeds and Hochi's inability to go home despite recently getting married. Vincent expresses his concern that everyone has been too relaxed lately, questioning his own dedication. Fader attempts to address Vincent's difficulty in accepting the result, but Vincent abruptly stops him. In contemplation, Vincent wonders what kind of man would acknowledge having a child when he has no recollection or understanding of it even being a possibility. Fader urges Vincent to accept the result, leave his office, and attend to various matters, including letters from the king and a meeting for all noble families regarding an incident. Fader expresses concern about the spreading rumors and the potential opposition they may face. He implores Vincent for the sake of the only princess of Callisto. However, Vincent, angered by Fader's words, tells him to leave. He's going to keep talking nonsense. Fader sighs, urging Vincent to get some rest. Vincent, frustrated, grabs his head, contemplating how he can ever accept the illogical situation. He questions the possibility of having a child when he claims to have never slept with anyone. Then he shifts his attention to his sword, Leo, wondering if it could shed light on the situation as it has always been with him. Vincent ponders whether the sleeping Leo knows if the girl is truly his daughter, expressing a desire for an answer but realizing Leo has been asleep for a while. Fader discreetly peeks through the door to inform Vincent that the king's palace is once again requesting his presence. He stresses the urgency, mentioning the potential use of royal guards if Vincent fails to comply, emphasizing it as insubordination. Vincent, deep in thought about the emperor, considers the potential damage to his ego and contemplates the reasons behind the forceful summons. Reflecting on possible accusations such as attempted murder on the second royal prince, kidnapping the daughter of a count, and involvement in producing a specific poison, Vincent acknowledges the complexity of the situation. Despite finding it incredibly complicated and annoying, he realizes he can't keep postponing the matter indefinitely. Vincent informs Fader that he will go to the palace tomorrow morning. Realizing the need for some fresh air, Vincent decides to take a break for the moment. Meanwhile, Halen finds herself perplexed and uneasy in her room, reflecting on the peculiarities of the people around her. She notes their inexplicable kindness, sudden requests for her blood, and early morning intrusion with magical practices. Halen questions whether this behavior is typical, wondering if there are social codes in this place that she has yet to grasp. Recalling her interaction with Butler, Halen considers the possibility that there might be unfamiliar social codes at play, particularly noting Butler's surprised reaction to her respectful bow. Startled, Butler reacts strongly, expressing concern about Halen going out alone due to her young age and the potential dangers she may encounter. Despite Halen asserting her ability to take care of herself, Butler vehemently opposes the idea. Frightened, Halen begins to hiccup, and Butler insists that she cannot leave, prompting Halen to nod in agreement. Interpreting the situation, Halen concludes that she may never be able to leave this place. She reflects on the kindness she has received, feeling skeptical that they saved her life and let her stay without expecting anything in return. Halen finds it impossible to believe that they want nothing in return, suspecting that they must be lying. She recalls wearing a pendant throughout her last lifetime since birth. With a heavy heart, Halen expresses her inability to trust them, comparing them to Count Zachary as mere liars. Feeling a deep sense of distrust towards anyone, she then uses a chair to jump out of the window, attempting to escape from the palace. Halen, running, spots a tree and decides to take a break in its shade. However, she notices someone behind the tree and opts to go elsewhere. Soon after, she observes something near the base of the tree, questioning what it might be, a white sword. Halen, without making a sound, approaches the tree and attempts to peek underneath to identify who might be there. Upon discovering Vincent resting comfortably beneath the tree, she recognizes him as the Duke. Despite hesitating not to disturb him, she expresses a desire to see the sword he possesses for some reason. Sitting close to the sleeping Vincent, Halen quietly observes him, able to hear his breathing. Approaching Vincent, Halen gently places her ear near him. Meanwhile, Vincent, still asleep, contemplates her actions, questioning why she is checking to see if he's alive. After brushing aside the hair from Vincent's face to get a better look, Halen exclaims that he looks like a doll. Confused, Vincent responds with a questioning expression. However, Hailing becomes aware of some sound around her, scanning the surroundings to identify its source. Suddenly, her attention is drawn to Vincent's sword Leo lying nearby. Shocked and contemplative, Hailing wonders if the sound is indeed coming from the sword. Her surprise stems from her understanding that inanimate objects are not supposed to produce sounds, a belief she acquired from the encyclopedia that served as her source of knowledge about the world in her previous lifetime. Gathering courage, Hailing attempts to touch the sword, confirming that the sound is indeed coming from it. However, as she touches the sword, Phaedra arrives, spotting Hailing. Phaedra enthusiastically addresses her, questioning her presence and suggesting she might be there to see the Duke. Hesitant, Hailing responds, and as Phaedra turns his attention to Vincent, she is startled, realizing that he is awake and wondering what he overheard. Startled upon seeing Vincent, Hailing becomes flustered and quickly runs away from the scene, bidding goodbye. Confused, Phaedra questions what's come over her. Meanwhile, Vincent contemplates that Hailing must have heard the sound of Leo the sword, as it only makes sounds in response to a Callisto. Afterward, Vincent reads a letter in his office acknowledging the expected involvement of Marquis Charlton. Phaedra informs him that while he isolated himself, Count Zachary has been meeting with nobles, including Marquis Charlton, causing the king's displeasure. Phaedra urges Vincent to remain calm during the upcoming meeting, even if issues arise. Vincent responds by questioning if Phaedra has ever seen him lose his temper. Vincent inquires of Phaedra if the document contains all the information gathered about the child's background. Phaedra confirms, mentioning that there is no information about Count Zachary, clarifying that his only involvement was visiting the orphanage about a month ago. Vincent, in contemplation, thinks that there is no way she could be his daughter, as he has never been with a woman. However, he notes her blue eyes, characteristic of the Callistos, and platinum blonde hair with a soft silver shine, clear features of a direct Callisto descendant. Despite his disbelief, he feels the need to investigate and understand how this is possible. Vincent meets Marquis Charlton, who greets him, acknowledging the passage of time. Vincent reciprocates, reflecting on Charlton's nature as having conniving eyes and a venomous tongue, likening him to a serpent attempting to conceal his insidious demeanor behind a smile. Charlton expresses concern about Vincent's well-being, mentioning his worry upon hearing that the Royal Knights were sent to Vincent's palace. Vincent is shocked upon learning about the Royal Knights. Charlton informs him that the Royal Knights are currently at his residence. Vincent wonders why they were sent to his palace when he is currently at the king's palace. Vincent instructs Ivan to return to the palace immediately and notify them. Ivan acknowledges the command, and Vincent emphasizes not to resist, urging them to follow every command. In contemplation, Vincent wonders about Charlton and what kind of scheme he might be involved in. Vincent, contemplating, thinks about Hailing and realizes that the child is being brought to the king's palace. Startled upon seeing the Royal Knights, Hailing becomes anxious and begins to ponder, questioning why the king would label her as a criminal. Observing a frightened Hailing, Jade intervenes with the Royal Knights, expressing a desire to accompany her. A knight responds that it's not allowed, but before they proceed further, Ivan arrives and informs them that Duke Callisto asked him to bring Hailing. Jade, relieved at Ivan's arrival, acknowledges him, and the knight agrees, nodding in approval. Ivan addresses Hailing, stating that he is there to be her escort. Trembling, Hailing feels relief upon seeing Ivan and grabs his hand. Ivan understands her fear and comforts her, assuring her that everything will be fine and he will be by her side until they reach the king's palace. Hailing nods in acknowledgement. Following that, Ivan leads Hailing to the royal palace. Observing the palace, Hailing thinks about it being the king's palace. A servant informs Ivan that His Majesty has ordered Hailing to wait in the annex until he calls for her. Ivan nods, and the servant directs Ivan to stay, stating that the instruction is only for the young lady, while Ivan must remain in place. However, Ivan remains steadfast, declaring himself as the knight in charge of protecting the lady unless his lord rescinds the command. The servant asserts that it's by the king's command. Though angered, Ivan refrains from saying anything further, feeling compelled to comply. Hailing, realizing Ivan's anger, contemplates acknowledging that he is upset and it's all because of her. She reflects on the fact that he didn't need to come here, but he did because of her. Fearing that he might end up hating her for this and blame her later, she expresses a strong desire for him not to perceive her as a bad person. Feeling anxious, Hailing addresses Ivan, pleading with him not to get mad. Confused, Ivan reacts to her request. However, Hailing, overwhelmed by her anxiety, runs away from Ivan and stands beside the servant. Ivan, in response, advises Hailing to scream if anything happens to her, assuring her that he will come right away. A saddened Hailing nods in acknowledgement. Later, Hailing enters a room, and after a while, the door opens, capturing her attention. Count Zachary, with a mischievous smile, enters the room. Startled at the sight of Zachary, Hailing becomes flustered. Zachary greets her, commenting on her well-fed appearance and suggesting that the Duke must be treating her nicely. He playfully inquires if she missed her daddy, leading Halen to burst into tears and shout a resounding no. Zachary is shocked, but he reaches out to Halen, expressing concern about her fear of her own dad. He claims to have missed her and worries for his precious daughter. Moving closer to Halen, he questions if she felt the same. Frightened, Halen starts to run away, colliding with Noah, causing her to fall. Noah points out the flower to Halen, who looks confused upon seeing him. Noah greets her, and recognizing him, Halen realizes, this boy is. Noah wears a smile as he remarks on Halen's running routine. Zachary, upon seeing Noah, becomes slightly irritated. Noah greets Zachary, calling him Mr. Smart Guy, to which Zachary remains silent. Noah comments that Zachary hasn't changed either. He then takes Halen's hand, positioning her behind him. In a whisper, Noah reassures Halen that she'll be fine here and that it won't be like last time. Zachary introduces himself to Noah as Count Delano Zachary, addressing him as the kingdom's star. Hearing Zachary refer to Noah as Your Highness, Halen is surprised. Noah responds to Zachary, expressing familiarity and asking about his day. Surprised, Halen contemplates Noah being a royal prince. Feeling hesitant, she releases her grip on Noah's hand. Noah firmly holds Halen's hand, telling her to stay in place. Meanwhile, Zachary questions Noah's apparent good mood, acknowledging that their relationship doesn't involve casual conversation. Noah, irritated, suggests that Zachary leave, emphasizing that Halen should stay. Shocked, Zachary addresses Noah as Your Highness, but Noah scolds him for lifting his head and demands that he bow down, which Zachary promptly begins to do. Noah, taking Halen along, suggests they proceed. However, Zachary intervenes, apologizing but stating that it's not possible. In response, Noah glares at Zachary with irritation. Zachary explains that Halen must remain in the annex until summoned by the king. Unfazed, Noah declares that he will go with her and instructs Zachary to lead the way. This surprises the servant, who exclaims in shock, while Halen observes the unfolding situation, keeping her eyes on Noah. Afterward, Noah asks Halen if she's still scared. Halen, unable to respond verbally, contemplates the situation, realizing she hasn't properly greeted the royal prince yet. Consequently, she attempts to curtsy to Noah, introducing herself, but her foot slips, causing her to stumble. She manages to recover, awkwardly acknowledging her stumble with an explanation that she tripped. Noah chuckles, expressing that there's no need for such formality and encouraging Halen to lift her head. Halen contemplates whether the royal prince is an exception to the rule mentioned in the book, advising against looking directly into the eyes of any royal family member. Noah pats Halen, expressing concern about her well-being and inquiring if Jade assisted in her recovery. He mentions his worries, seeking information from the Duke, and even contemplating a visit. Halen expresses her gratitude and reassures him about her well-being, to which Noah acknowledges her seeming wellness. Halen admires Noah's appearance and is struck by the overall attractiveness of those around her. Recalling Noah's injury from their previous encounter, she checks his cheek for any wounds but finds none. Noah informs her that the scar is healed, expressing gratitude for the mage's assistance, bringing joy to Halen. Noah, noticing Halen's concern for his well-being, asks for her permission to check if she has a fever. He gently places his hand on her forehead to assess her temperature. In an unexpected moment, Halen accidentally touches Noah's hand, leading her to apologize profusely for daring to touch the royal prince. Noah reassures her and encourages her to rise, emphasizing that his name is Noah. Noah, trying to comfort Halen, mentions that she wanted to repay him for his help in their previous encounter. Halen assures him that she will fulfill her promise. Noah, with a smile, lightens the mood by stating that he was just kidding, emphasizing there's nothing to repay him for, and that he helped her because she reminded him of someone he likes. Halen, upon hearing this, wonders if she is the person Noah likes. Noah playfully points out that it's her eyes and hair, causing a playful reaction from Halen. He clarifies that he admires and aspires to be like the person she reminds him of. Noah asks Halen about her relationship with the Duke. Halen, confused, doesn't understand. Noah presses further, questioning if she is really the Duke's daughter. Surprised, Halen contemplates this unexpected revelation, contemplates the possibility of being the Duke's daughter. The Emperor reacts with shock upon hearing Vincent's statement about Halen being his child. Vincent confirms the truth, leading to a collective state of surprise among the nobles and a conversation beginning between them and the Emperor. Vincent asserts that Halen is indeed his child. A few minutes ago, the nobles engage in conversation, expressing concerns about the young age of the individual in question. They emphasize the gravity of disrespect toward the royal family, disregarding the age factor. The suggestion of the adopted daughter of Count Zachary facing death penalty surfaces, raising questions about how she could be under Duke Callisto's protection for so long. Concerns about the safety of the royal prince are voiced, with the demand that the child be handed over for the sake of the kingdom's honor. The nobles collectively insist that Vincent must give up the child. Vincent, reflecting on Fader's words, recalls Helen's signs of physical abuse. The notion that she has been cautious about trusting adults due to her traumatic experiences weighs heavily on him. In deep contemplation, Vincent finds it perplexing that she is accused of endangering the prince's life, when in reality, she struggles with fear and sleeplessness stemming from her past trauma. Emperor declares his decision regarding the fate of the adopted daughter of Count Zachary. Inwardly frustrated, Vincent sighs, unable to bear the situation any longer. He then addresses the emperor, expressing his disagreement with the decision, emphasizing that the child's life cannot be demanded as she is also a Callisto. The emperor, shocked, questions Vincent about the possibility of having a daughter. Vincent, defensive, asks if the emperor is meddling in his personal affairs. The emperor, flustered, denies any interference, wondering why Vincent had not mentioned this earlier. Vincent explains that he discovered he had a daughter through the royal prince and was previously unaware of her existence. The emperor, astonished by the revelation of a daughter in the Callisto line, learns it's the first time in almost 1,000 years. He questions Vincent about the certainty of her being his daughter, demanding proof. Vincent assures him that he has already conducted a paternity test using a potion. The emperor suggests running the test once more in front of all the nobles and proposes that if she is truly Vincent's daughter, she should become the wife of the royal prince. Noah questions Helen about her relationship with Vincent, confirming that they are not father and daughter. Helen affirms this, and Noah, after a moment of thought, smiles and shares that he's not disappointed. He mentions a desire for Vincent to feel indebted to him, but corrects himself, leaving his thoughts unfinished. Noah inquires about Helen's experience at the Duke's palace, asking if she enjoys it and finds the people enjoyable to talk to. Helen responds affirmatively. Noah expresses his desire to live there as well, but mentions his father's disapproval. He then questions Helen about her plans, considering she ran away while on her way to her adoptive parents' house. Helen mentions her plan to go to the state of divinity, and Noah reacts, noting that not everyone can go there. He asks if Jade offered to take her, and Helen nods. Noah gives her a flower, congratulating her on her permanent escape. Helen accepts the flower with a smile, and upon seeing her smile, Noah starts to blush. Helen, smelling the flower given by Noah, appreciates its nice scent. Suddenly, a servant informs them that Duke Callisto is here. Noah, excited, greets Vincent enthusiastically. Vincent bows formally, and Noah, noticing the formality, urges him to act normally without such formality. Vincent responds sternly, stating that he already did, and Noah perceives his tone as cold. Vincent gazes toward Helen and says, "We're going back. Let's go home." Helen, feeling confused, wonders if he means his palace. However, she reflects sadly that the only place she could call home was the hut that burned down, and all she remembers from there is nightmarish. She expresses a longing for Duke's palace to be her real home. Noah excitedly informs Vincent that the trial has been cancelled, expressing awe at the Duke's influence and asking how he managed to handle Noah's father. Vincent urges him to be cautious with his words, emphasizing his concern about avoiding trouble. When Noah playfully suggests Vincent is worried about him, Vincent clarifies that his primary concern is steering clear of complications arising from Noah's choice of words. Noah accuses Vincent of being cold and expresses hurt feelings. In a teary state, Noah questions if Vincent is seeking revenge for a previous incident. Suddenly, Noah slips and falls, but Vincent catches him, asserting that he would never harm a member of the royal family despite the disparity between words and actions. Noah questions the inconsistency between Vincent's words and deeds. Afterward, Vincent takes a carriage to the palace with Helen. Vincent expresses his desire for Noah to cease visiting his residence, cautioning against getting too close to someone accused of serious crimes like kidnapping and attempting to murder a royal family member. Noah is startled and questions the reasoning behind Vincent's request. Vincent firmly suggests that it would be wise for Noah to heed his advice and bids him goodbye. As Vincent's carriage departs, Noah tries to comprehend the meaning behind Vincent's words, left puzzled and questioning with a simple "what" in response. Recalling the emperor's decree that Helen would be the wife of the royal prince, Vincent reflects on the abrupt shift in attitude after revealing Helen's Callisto lineage, finding it perplexing how swiftly things change from a potential death sentence to a royal alliance. Vincent, glancing at Helen, contemplates the situation, realizing the emperor's intention to link his son with a Callisto capable of wielding the sword of sanctity directly. This connection would allow the royal family to claim the privilege and glory of the Callisto lineage, fulfilling the dream of ruling Anastas and the state of divinity. Vincent sighs, feeling the complications arising from his decisions without thorough consideration. Observing Vincent's concerned demeanor, Helen wonders if something has happened, finding people challenging to understand. No's question echoes in her mind, are you really his daughter? She contemplates the impossibility of being Vincent's daughter. Vincent contemplates his inexplicable feelings towards Haylene, questioning if she might be a demonic monster. However, when he gazes upon Haylene's innocent face, he can't help but acknowledge that she doesn't resemble one. Vincent questions Haylene about her memories before the orphanage. Startled, Haylene shakes her head, wearing a sad expression, revealing that she has no recollection before the age of 7. After reaching the palace, Fader expresses surprise, questioning if Vincent told them Haylene is his daughter. Vincent defends himself, stating he wouldn't lie. However, he mentions that the king might not fully believe him. Vincent then addresses Jade, instructing another paternity test with a potion in a month. Vincent expresses frustration with the process, deeming it stupid, emphasizing the need to prove Haylene's paternity conclusively. Jade defends the potion, asserting its reliability and pointing out the scheduled test. Vincent shares his suspicion that nobles are hoping Haylene isn't his real daughter. Jade cautions that regardless of the outcome, Haylene's safety is a concern, emphasizing the need for caution given the potential risks to her life. Jade nods in acknowledgement, stating that if Haylene is not Vincent's daughter, there would be no issue in eliminating her. However, if she is indeed his daughter, her death would mean the end of his only flesh and blood. Vincent adds that those aiming to bring down the Callisto family would seek to eliminate her. Fader expresses concern, inquiring about Vincent's plans for Haylene. Vincent asserts that she is now the legitimate daughter of the Callisto family, but dismisses the idea of appointing her as his heir, clarifying that she is not his biological daughter. Jade urges Vincent to accept the results of the paternity tests, expressing concern over potential fears of Haylene being a demonic monster. Vincent responds seriously, questioning the logic of a man having a child without a woman. Scared, Jade and Fader express their concerns to Vincent, emphasizing that they are not doubting his purity. Vincent, in response, challenges the notion, questioning whether he appears cold and cruel enough to be unaware or indifferent to having a child of his own, especially one abandoned and raised in an orphanage. Fader nudges Jade in acknowledgement of Vincent's point. Jade proposes a solution to Vincent, suggesting that if it's challenging for him to accept Haylene, he could let her take charge of the situation. Jade anticipates that it might be uncomfortable for both Vincent and Haylene if she stays in the palace or is sent outside. He proposes that after the upcoming paternity test, Haylene could be placed under the protection of the state of divinity, a decision he believes she would welcome. Vincent contemplates the proposal, finding it ideal but feeling an inexplicable discomfort. He questions his unease but eventually decides to let Jade proceed as he wishes. Fader informs Vincent that Haylene will stay in the main palace starting today, surprising him. Fader reminds Vincent that he has already claimed Haylene as his daughter to the Emperor. Vincent is shocked by the revelation. Fader suggests that for the next month, Vincent needs to spend some time with Haylene to maintain the appearance of a father-daughter relationship and avoid suspicion. Afterward, Vincent goes to meet Haylene. Anxious at his presence, Haylene's maid hesitates, questioning the Duke's visit. Vincent, addressing Haylene, asks if she enjoys taking walks and if she likes tea. Haylene nods, and Vincent enthusiastically suggests having tea together. Surprised, Haylene wonders about the Duke wanting to have tea with her. As Haylene and Vincent sit down to have tea together, an awkward silence envelops them. Vincent, with a cold tone, instructs Haylene to drink the tea, making her flinch. Realizing his mistake, he awkwardly corrects himself, allowing her to drink her tea. Fader appears, surprised at witnessing Vincent's softer side. Vincent commands Fader to leave, prompting Haylene to flinch, thinking he meant her. However, Vincent clarifies that his instruction was not for her. Fader whispers to Vincent, urging him to soften his tone. Haylene hesitantly resumes her seat in front of Vincent. Haylene contemplates her situation, realizing it has become even more awkward. Feeling compelled to obey Vincent's command, she quickly drinks the entire cup of tea in one breath. Vincent questions, why do you dislike Count Zachary so much? Haylene, upon hearing this, thinks to herself about the painful memories of being locked up and mistreated by Count Zachary for 11 years, leading to a tragic incident where she was burned to death in the hut. She expresses a strong aversion to experiencing such torment again. Vincent expresses that he'll ask a different question, inquiring if Haylene wishes she weren't adopted. Haylene nods, and Vincent questions her preference, stating the advantages of being a noble. Haylene, after contemplation, shares that she would rather be a commoner due to the freedom it offers, allowing her to go anywhere she wants. She reflects on her determination to avoid returning to the traumatic experiences in the hut. Vincent questions if Haylene would consider being adopted if it meant having freedom. Perplexed, Haylene worries about the possibility of being adopted again, possibly by Count Zachary. Vincent then straightforwardly declares that starting today she is his daughter. This revelation leaves Haylene in shock, questioning Vincent in surprise. Vincent clarifies that Halen is not his real daughter, though circumstances have led to this arrangement for the time being. Halen acknowledges this, and Vincent assures her of her freedom. He vows on the Callisto name that she can go to the state of divinity, serve the church, and potentially attain a high-level position due to her strong affinity for divinity. Vincent explains the benefits of Halen becoming his daughter, emphasizing that she won't have to return to Count Zachary. Upon hearing this, Halen stands up in surprise but quickly composes herself and returns to her seat. She hesitates before asking if Vincent won't hit her, seeking reassurance. Halen, teary-eyed, expresses her fears to Vincent, questioning if he won't sell her or treat her poorly. Vincent, confused by her concerns, reassures her that he won't do any of those things. Halen, relieved, smiles in response. Halen smiles and agrees to Vincent's assurance that she'll be protected by the Callisto family. They shake hands in agreement. Afterward, Vincent, contemplating Halen, chuckles at the thought of her having tiny hands, recognizing that it's only natural since she is a child. He mentally acknowledges her as Halen Eden Callisto, solidifying her place within the Callisto family. The butler informs Vincent of an unannounced visitor, and Vincent questions the visitor's identity at this late hour. Charlton then introduces himself and expresses his intention to negotiate a deal concerning Vincent's daughter. Vincent, in turn, inquires about the nature of this proposed deal, specifically regarding marriage to the royal prince. Charlton advises Vincent to abandon the idea of his daughter marrying the prince, claiming that the royal heir is already intended for Charlton's daughter. Vincent challenges this assertion, pointing out that the king doesn't seem to share Charlton's perspective. Charlton then alludes to the fate of the former queen and questions whether Vincent wants his daughter to face a similar destiny. Vincent reflects on Charlton, recalling the recent meeting where Charlton advocated for putting Halen to death. Vincent suspects that Charlton aims to eliminate Halen before her Callisto lineage is confirmed, causing complications for the nobility. Charlton emphasizes the importance of prioritizing Halen's safety, considering her status as the first daughter in Vincent's family in a millennium. Vincent sternly warns Charlton, stating that if he ever threatens him again, Charlton will face execution the following day, with Vincent specifically mentioning having his head at the executioner's block. Charlton is visibly frightened by the threat. Vincent playfully teases Charlton, expressing his respect for his daughter's wishes. He suggests that instead of making threats, Charlton should consider how to earn his daughter's favor. Charlton becomes annoyed, and Vincent, indicating the end of the conversation, departs from the scene. With teary eyes, Halen reflects on the power struggles around her. She blames herself for the harm caused to the royal prince and the difficult situation it put the Duke in. She assumes that the Duke declared her as his daughter just to shield her from the complications. Feeling like a perpetual burden, Halen is weighed down by the events around her. Jade informs Halen about the upcoming test to determine if she is the Duke's real daughter. The potion that turned blue recently is mentioned as an indicator of Callisto blood. Halen expresses her uncertainty about being the Duke's daughter, to which Jade counters by reminding her of the blue blood indicator in the recent potion test. Jade suggests the presence of Callisto lineage in Halen's family. Halen contemplates the possibility of meeting her parents if she stays, and Jade responds by acknowledging the upcoming public scrutiny. Jade advises Halen to practice being around people, pointing out her fear of them. Halen expresses confusion at the idea of practicing. Jade introduces the person perfect for Halen to practice being around, Vincent Eden Callisto, Halen's unofficial father, who will be staying with her starting today. Halen and Vincent become awkward upon seeing each other. Jade explains that Vincent is the one Halen needs to feel closest to, emphasizing the importance of convincing the king that they are truly father and daughter. Disappointed, Halen thinks about this unexpected turn, questioning whether it's a new way to torture her given her previous perception of the priest as a nice guy. Jade observes Vincent and Halen, noting that they both have a similar expression on their faces, as if questioning or bemused by Jade's peculiar statements. He adds a light-hearted laugh to his observation. Halen and Vincent glance at each other, both flinching in response. Halen exclaims with a chill, feeling embarrassed by the eye contact. Jade emphasizes the awkwardness, stating that no one will believe they are truly father and daughter. Then Jade hands Vincent a schedule outlining their planned activities, highlighting that they will be together for most events, excluding Halen's etiquette class. Vincent tosses the paper, remarking with a laugh that Jade is nuts. However, Jade responds by advising Vincent to use kind and polite words since his daughter is listening. Halen hesitates, questioning if she really has to go through with this, and Jade insists that she must. The atmosphere becomes awkward as both Halen and Vincent sigh, acknowledging the challenges ahead. Between noon and 1 p.m., Halen and Vincent share a meal at the dining table, but an awkward silence settles between them. Halen, feeling awkward, thinks to herself that she's hungry but hesitates to eat. Vincent questions if she dislikes the food, prompting Halen to respond with an "oh" in surprise. Halen, in thought, encourages herself to express her opinions freely without fear of consequences, finding it fun. With determination, she clenches her fist and whispers that she likes the food. However, Vincent continues eating without acknowledging her. Perplexed, Halen decides to say it louder, expressing, "I like it." Vincent responds with a simple "Ugh." Halen, feeling glum, wonders if she's annoying Vincent. He interprets her reluctance to eat the soup and suggests she doesn't have to if she doesn't want to. Halen, frustrated that he didn't hear her earlier, reluctantly decides to eat the soup. With a determined gulp, she exclaims, "I like the soup." Vincent appears confused by her outburst. Halen then starts eating her food with audible munching. In her thoughts, she expresses that she likes the food but is so nervous that she can't even discern the taste. She desperately wishes for time to pass faster. During tea time, Halen sips her tea while contemplating recalling the etiquette class where she learned not to make any sounds while drinking tea. She resolves to be cautious and avoid any mistakes in front of Vincent. After taking a sip of tea, Halen glances at Vincent, realizing she made a sound. Vincent responds, stating, "That's pretty amazing." Perplexed, Halen hesitates and asks if he meant the sound she made. Vincent, unfazed, takes a graceful sip of his tea, leaving Halen in awe of his elegance and wondering about his comment, "That's pretty amazing." During their scheduled walk from 1:30 p.m. to 2 p.m., Vincent comments to Halen, "That's unique. Is that how you normally walk?" Puzzled, Halen wonders what he finds unique this time. Vincent walks ahead, prompting Halen to run after him. Observing his wide strides, she thinks his strides are too wide. Vincent comments, "You're really unique." Perplexed, Halen wonders, "Can you just tell me what you're referring to?" Halen is supposed to go to Vincent's room to sleep, but she hesitates outside his door. Summoning some courage, she opens the door, peeks into the room, and then enters with her pillow. Halen, contemplating, wonders what to do. Vincent urges her to come up if she's going to sleep. Hesitant, she rushes to the bed but finds it too high. Vincent, sighing, lifts Halen onto the bed. Nervous, she contemplates what to do, deciding to quickly go to sleep and pulling the blanket over herself. Halen counted flowers in vain, attempting to find sleep even after reaching over 50. The awkward and uncomfortable days persisted for 2 weeks.